You need some support. You need more that's going on with it. So sort of dragged it out, had a good chat, sent her the details. She didn't ask about the price actually. She forgot to ask about the price because she was so in tune to asking everything else. Then she went, oh yeah, I suppose I should ask about the price. I said, it's £50 a week. We go through all the stuff. And she went, oh yeah. I said, look, at the end of the day, because she's done the slimming one, right? I said, you tried the cheap stuff and it didn't get you anywhere. So maybe it's time we invested in a little bit more. And I said, you're not spending money on me, you're spending money on yourself. And you need to do that. And she was like, yeah, no, you are right. So I was like, yes, you are right. So give me some goddamn money. So yeah.
So she signed up?
Not yet. I've given her another phone call on Friday because I said I would, because she gets the 2 free calls in the webinar anyway. So I'm going to honour that and be like, basically, Friday at 11 o'clock is going to be like, right. So here's the direct debit details. You ping it up. It tells me golden. So, hoorah.
Perfect. So sign her up on the phone. Do not let her get off the phone until you sign her up.
Yeah, no, that'll be the case. I'll be sat in front of my laptop. And she's pretty good. I sent her all the details after the phone call. I said, you tell me when you've got them. Yeah, we've got them all received. That's absolutely fine. So I said, look, if you want to call me tomorrow and sign up, that's great. I said, but I will call you on Friday. And I kept using the terms that we'll get you signed up when we work together. We're in this for the long run. And there was no objection. There was no like, oh, well, it seems like a long time. I'm like, no, because this is it. It's an investment in you. She's just started a new job as a carer. So she's actually earning money, not losing it. So I was like, well, perfect timing, really. Let's invest in you while, the ball's rolling. And I also extended, because the first contract I did was only an 8-week initial period, but I put it to 12 now. So I'm like, it just covers
Perfect.
me.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it was a pretty good sell in the beginning, but I just thought, you know what? She's done Snowboard so many times and she's just confused. So you know what? If I spend an hour and 40 minutes just alleviating all of that confusion, all of that, I don't know if I'm going to have the same thing. I'm like, right, the only thing left we have to talk about on Friday when I call you is signing up now. That's it. And she was like, cool. Yeah, it was like no objections. It wasn't like, oh, well, I might have to think about this, think about that, because she kept saying it's the mental stuff that I need. I'm like, well, I'm the only one that can give it to you. Because I said I made a point of saying there are no other trainers that I know about that are qualified to deal with this. So if you're going to spend your money on anything, it might as well be me, because I'm the only one that can give you the help you want. So,
and the thing is, your price ain't going to be like that forever.
No, exactly that. It's like, yeah, so you might as well get it while the going's good, because
I mean, you're going to be £100 very, very soon, based on like what you're doing and your knowledge and what you're already doing. But obviously, once you get people coming through, that's when I put your prices up. And you say because I tell you when to put your prices up, because otherwise you'll never put your prices up.
To be fair, I am very much more. You've given me the confidence.
No, but you've also just got to, like, I think you've got a platform now. Like, you've got the podcast and you've got all these other things. I'm like, no one's paying you $50. Everyone's paying you more, right? Like it's like if I wanted to work with you, I'd pay you more, right? Just because of the knowledge and the stuff that you'll do. So.
Yeah, no, I've got a proper microphone turning up. I've finally, so by the time the next podcast happens, I will have a brand new computer screen, the whole shebang. And then as of Friday, for our call on Monday, I'll have a proper podcast mic. This is it. This is legit now. None of this peanut operation stuff I've got.
100%. I just bought a microphone arm. So because at the moment I have this, it's like down here, but I can't. It's annoying because if I'm trying to do work, I want to just make sure my audio is the same the whole time. So I just got like one of those like a tripod arms, booms arm or whatever they're called. But then I bought it and then they're like, oh, because of COVID, we're delayed by 2 days. I'm like, you fucker.
Yeah, now you put it in because I was going to get the blue snowball version because I can't afford the Yeti.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But I've got one that's similar to it. Either way, it's going to improve my audio. I'll get a better one.
100%.
But and they're like, oh, you can get the Yeti snowball, which is basically the One Direction one that looks like something out of a Mario game. And you think it in front of you. It's got the Cartoid sound pickup, whatever. Yeah, you can get it. Great, fine on Prime. Won't turn up until whenever. You're like, then you're not on Amazon Prime, are you? Don't lie to me. Don't tell me you're there and then say, oh, we're back in stock as of Thursday. No, that doesn't help me. I need it like now.
I wish we had Amazon Prime. That's what I hate about New Zealand, is that we don't have you know, or to be fair, we kind of do have shipping that's overnight, pretty much everything. But like Amazon wise, we don't. The way, like, I wanted to buy this book last night, and I was like, "This is gonna be fucking 7 to 14 days," and I was like, "Sick!" I can't wait to know
it's going to be 13. It's not going to be quite 14. It'll be 13, just to mess with you.
yeah. And then I don't even know. Is my screen lagging? What the fuck?
Yes.
That is so weird. My computer is having an absolute meltdown. Okay, what the?
You're in slow mode, dude. That's 7 to 14 days now. I'm gonna get the end of this phone call in like 2 weeks.
No, I don't know. Like something's going. I think it's because of my computer. I need to probably turn it off and on again. I hardly ever turn it off, so that's probably why. Cool. Okay,
that's
so
the way in it with Macs, like they just run forever, and all of a sudden they go, "Yeah, you need to turn me off now." That'd be.
I need a night off. Okay, cool. So we've worked on our webinars. We've worked on our things. I think we just come up with a new webinar, and then I think we finalise getting that and launching that again, because I think there's no reason why you can't do that in another 4 weeks. But it's also about, okay, what else do we need to work on? Do you think now that we're getting into the role of the swing of things now, what do we kind of want to focus on?
I personally think the biggest thing we need to work on now would be sort of a twofold thing. We need to work on something that's going to, like, a funnel-esque, like even if we use the one with the challenge for it. I also need to, I think, sort of figure out what I'm doing with TrainerWise. So I've got somewhere for people to go, because that's the problem at the moment. I've got, like, once I'm filled up, I need somewhere for people to go, because basically my plan basically is that I've got to account for, I mean, in Phil's Super Strong Business Group in Holland, they've just said that basically gyms aren't opening again until September.
Yeah.
So you can do small group. That's basically in fitness and sports events and stuff. So whether they'll have different means in gyms. It'll be a case of you're only allowed so many people per square foot probably, and they've got to be kept away from one another. So that's fine. That's not going to. They'll probably just open back up for personal training only if that's the case. But basically, I've got to kind of be prepared that the gym's going to open again at some point. So I don't want to have a massive influx of online clients and then not be able to train the guys that have stuck with me through it. So if they've got somewhere to go that I can, remotely deal with them, and they've got like access to all sorts of bits and pieces, then that's kind of what I need to work on next, I think.
Yeah, cool. So what we'll do is we'll make a program up for people on TrainerWise, and then you can actually put them in a group in TrainerWise. So you can put them. It's like a VIP group, but it's a virtual VIP group, right? So what happens is they go into the group, and then they just do that program. So for instance, if you want to send them somewhere, like let's say people that sign up, the leads, the emails, whatever, from the lead magnet that we'll create on the landing page, is that when you look at it from that element, you just put them into that group and they just do that program until they're ready to work with you one-on-one.
Right, okay.
So, I mean, TrainerWise make that super simple. You literally just put them in there and then put them into a program, whatever you want to do. It doesn't matter, but then that's what I would do. I would then also go, okay, well, what's your leverage point? Well, your leverage point is the fact that you now have an app that you can give your face-to-face people and then do the same thing for them. Put them into a group, talk to them, message them, whatever, because everything is digital, right? So what I mean by the group is that you can literally just treat it like a text message group, like a WhatsApp group. But it's not a fucking WhatsApp group. I have no idea why UK trainers and influencers think they want to have a WhatsApp group when they can just have that on their app. So, you just go in there and create a program for whatever the amount of days, 30 days, 40 days, whatever you need. And then from there, you just go, cool, this is what I want to do. This is how we can put them into there. It's like the prerequisite to get on the call from you. So they go in there, then from there, they get a call with you, and then they go into your one-on-one coaching. Yeah. So it's very much like a cold audience from Facebook into the group, which is starting to get them warm. They're in there communicating with each other because, if they don't, then they can leave if they want to. Then they're doing that program. They're subscribed to the program. So they're all doing the same program. Yeah. However, from doing that program, there'll be different variations for certain people, right? Obviously, I'm not saying but at the end of the day, it's a cookie cutter, because it's like, well, not a cookie cutter, but it's like not a personalized program, because the upsell from that is then working with you one-on-one. So the the Wonder Woman workout or whatever you want to do. So it doesn't, what I mean, it's not cookie cutter in terms of like you've just slapped something in there. What I'm saying is it's just the program in which you've designed to be multifunctional across all levels, but the upsell is going on a call with you.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's no different than the James Smith basic one, isn't it? You pay for the basic, you get access to the workouts and the plans he's put up. And then if you want to work with him and his team, you move up a tier. If you want to work with the trainers indirectly, you move up another tier. It's what everybody's used to. So it's like, I don't mind having a look. You go in here, you've got the option to either do, I can build a strength and endurance and a weight loss program, 30-day thing that's easy. I've got the Wonder Woman thing all planned out and mapped on there anyway. I've got a full 90-day beginner progression program that I could even get them doing. So basically it's kind of like a qualifier. If you can get through all of these movements, you can now work with me kind of thing, even if we did it that way, whatever. So there's plenty of things. I mean, I've got programs falling out my ass, like I can just chuck in there. And as you say, it's at the end of the day, if they're not working with me, they're going to get what they get. And that's what they're kind of sat in there for. It doesn't matter that it's not completely bespoke to that person, because that's where training with me comes in.
I'm just going to show you something that you can leverage from this when you advertise it. See if it'll come up. Yeah. Okay. So this will go into here. So what you can do is once you've come up with like the concept of it, what you can do is you can actually go to Fiverr and get someone through here to make a box set. Can you see my screen? Right. Which one?
Yeah.
Can you see this bit? Oh yeah. Okay. It's just like, so yeah, this bit here, I mean, it's like $8 New Zealand, right? Like to do 2D or 3D Amazon, you can go up to whatever package you want. That's fine. But what it does is allows you to just leverage it. So like imagine looking at this compared to looking at just the program design, because they can then know, okay, it's available on my tablet, it's available on whatever, and it's a box program. So like you can see here, I mean, this is a pretty average designer. I probably wouldn't use this guy, but it's just an idea. And it's just allowing you to see how you can kind of leverage a simple idea and then just go from here, right? So like, it's, this is quite a cool concept and all this kind of stuff. Obviously this design looks like a piece of shit, but you can go back and find better people. Like you just go through and look at the people that have done that. Like I work personally with 4 people from this site, but I only work with those 4 people because I've had them over the last 5 years. So you can go here and you might have to spend just a little bit more, but you can see how you can leverage it and say, okay, well, I'm taking this concept and it's the first tier. And then like I've been talking to Alex and Eric and stuff like that, you've just got to streamline it to the point where they feel like the progression is there. And it's like, well, fuck, holy crap. Like, you've just taken a program workout, like that's just a normal workout on an app to make it look like this like massive kind of deal. And it makes them feel kind of unique around that situation. So that could be definitely the concept. So that's fine. You just have to come up with a, what the way that you want to do it, the style you want to do it, and how you're going to advertise it. And then from there, it's just going, okay, well, what are we going to do in order to get them to book in with you? Because that's the end goal. So they're obviously going to see the program. They're obviously going to try the program. The idea is that you naturally have in those groups and also in your email sequences, those systems where you'll go, okay, well, this is like day 4, day 5, day 6. Here's a link to book in a call with me, whatever you need them to do. Like, for instance, when they download my Ultimate Funnel ebook, the first 3 hours, they get a message from me for my follow-up funnel saying, book in a call with me. Because, here's 2 free breakthrough strategy calls with me personally. So that's what they do 9 times out of 10. I think it's every fourth person will do that. Not if they show up, they show up. If they don't, they don't. It doesn't really matter. It's just a follow-up funnel.
I upgraded my Acuity thing, so I'm now paying for that. So that's on.
Beautiful.
My darling great auntie, I got a letter this morning in the post, and she gave me a check for 500 quid for me and my other half. So basically, I've used that to buy the computer to upgrade everything. And that means that the money that I was probably going to have to shuffle around for the computer, I now have for so
beautiful.
Had my email from the HM Revenue Service about my relief fund claim, so I can claim from 8 o'clock on the 14th of May. And I will get anything up to 7.5 grand, because that's basically the way it works out. And I should receive about 6,700. So that covers everything that I needed to cover. So we shall have wiggle room and playtime if the gods see fit. So this is
beautiful.
And again, at the same time, I've actually got another old client returning. He's a bit of a pain in the backside, but he's all right. He's a young Bangladeshi lad who he's so jittery. Like he's like a lost puppy. I'll go and get some equipment. He follows me because he feels like he has to help. I'm like, stay where the you are. Don't touch anything. I'll come back in a minute. And then, but he's always injured, and that's why he works with me, because he can't rehab himself. It's just he's a nice guy, and he's always got some cash for me. But I'm just like, if you just stopped doing what you were doing, you'd actually not be injured for about 20 seconds. Like if you could do that, that'd be perfect.
Sounds like one of the guys off Top Boy, you know, like the guys that walk around. Have you seen the series?
No, but I know what you're on about.
It's just fucking hilarious. It's just like he just walks around and he's just trying to do shit, and I'm like, that sounds exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, pretty much. Like he injured himself boxing because he's so small. I don't think he's heavy enough to fit into a weight class. He has to box with the kids because he's so tiny.
Oh yeah.
Because he's punching down all the time. He's done his pec muscling from punching down. So I'm trying to rehab that, but he keeps wandering off and going back on the punching bag again and punching in the same way. And I'm like, in the first place, stop it. But he was like, yeah, I need to get back. I've got bands and stuff. And so he'll come back, and for the sake of $10 and a bit of dollar, I'll do it. And then one of the women I used to train, who's like perfect demographic for me, has unfortunately split with a long-time partner. But I've basically kept telling her, invest in yourself again. She's, I can't, my other half's, he's kicked off about it. We're not with him anymore. So what's your excuse? And she was like, yeah, okay, we'll book in a call. So she should come on to the online thing, because the budget she had for training is exactly how much it costs to train with me
online
each week. She couldn't afford to do 2 sessions a week, but she can definitely afford to do that bit. So I'm like, yes, I'm gonna get this.
See, that's the leverage that you have going back into it, and this is why I said it was so important. And also, it's as bad as it sounds, it's kind of a blessing that this happened, like the coronavirus happened at the time, because it's just pushed
completely.
you to
because otherwise I would have been able to coast through on what I had, and it's still daunting, and it's still, you still go in thinking, okay, fair enough, and there's always something actually, crap, I need to get that now. But as it goes, I made the decision last time, and I got out of the mindset of going, I can't do that, because it's like, no, I'll do that, and I have to make some money to make it up. That's the only way it works. Like, if I need this, I'll have to get it, and then I'm going to have to cover the cost of it. It's as simple as that. So it's kind of all come to a climax at the moment, where it's quite nice to see that, I haven't really had much contact with the gym. I dip in and out, but I know that regardless of that place opening or not, I know that I'm going to keep getting clients as I go, even if it's a case of I do 1 webinar a month, and even if I still have a conversion rate of 1 in 4 of coming in, that's still 1 client a month that I'm still building on. So, and as you say, if I can get some back pay from Her Majesty's Finest, then we can put that into a funnel, and I can start building on the app. So when I've got the computer tomorrow, it's going to make things so much easier, because at the moment I've been sort of holding back because working on this laptop is screwing my eyes up and giving me headaches. It's such a tiny screen that now I'll actually have a monitor and a proper keyboard and stuff to work on, so I can blast through it and get it done.
No, that's fine. And exactly right. It's just really about streamlining the process in which you can get people through the door. Because we build the workouts, which in itself is probably going to be a mini 30-day challenge. And this is where I tell people that I'm like, this is the evolution of what we did, because you've got the concept in your head now. The second is trying to get them booked in for a call. And then the third is just working with you personally. So you can streamline that, but the only kink in the road is just making sure there's enough people coming in each week that are going to be signing up and doing the workouts and the effective routine from there. So that's all. What you need to do then is say, okay, well, my traffic is coming organically at this point, which is completely fine. But as soon as that happens, all you have to do is streamline the organic posting to then make sure they go through to that workout. Now, I'm not saying every single post, but I'm like, drop a link, drop a link, to make sure that those things are getting done, and those things are getting, there's traction on those pages and stuff like that. But I think that's the process we focus on, and then we focus on, okay, what's our next webinar at the same time. So we manage a little bit more in our plate each call, But I think, okay, well, what's our next webinar? Because it's going, and what are we going to learn from the previous webinar? Because effectively the slides are the same, right? You just have to change the information. The technique is the same because obviously it works, right? And then it's like, okay, cool. So what do we do? What do we do differently this time compared to what we did last time? What is the issues that we ran into this time? What can we fix? And then obviously, like, what's our outcome? What's our goal? Because if we can do this every month, and like you said, you get a new client every month, you're getting paid £50 or, lifetime value of that client, equivalent of that webinar. So you look at like the lifetime value of a client over 12 weeks, that's how much you get paid for doing that webinar because you just got a client from it, right? So don't look at it as that kind of per week style. Look at it as per kind of client style, because there's no reason why you wouldn't get more. The only issue that we run into is just more people turning up. But again, there was, and you learned a lot coming into it, saying, okay, well, this is what we need. It's a little bit more time and having all those other things in place. But I think
as you say, everything's kind of built now. We don't have to build it again. We just put a new face on it and go from there. So I mean, the only real issues we had was, I think a few people couldn't get in to the webinar. I did have a few people saying, like, I've clicked on the link but I can't get in. It might have been because it was underway and I couldn't invite them in once it started or whatever. Obviously sound quality is going to be better this time round. I may try and change the slides a little bit to change the size of them so I can have a drop down of people's face on the side, so I'm in it for better recording purposes, but in a nice plus way. I don't mind either way, because I can always go back and re-record it and polish it for a funnel anyway. So I don't have an issue doing that. I'll just open up Zoom and record me talking over the webinar, because essentially that's all they want to see is me talking through the slides. And the other thing was obviously just the email sequencing is a bit funny. I mean, if I show you what I've got right now, because it doesn't kind of make sense to me, or it kind of does, but move that over there. Yeah, so that's basically where I'm at right now with that. I can't see who's opened up for some reason. I don't know how to do that, but
go into messages and then click into each one. Oh, is it just going to make you edit it?
Possibly.
Oh, yeah, it's only going to make you edit it. Okay, cool. You should be able to. There should be a way that you can see it. I don't know why it's not letting you do that. I think just Aweber in general don't like you.
Report, did it?
It should. Can you go down to where it says send message with 27%? And you can't click on it at all.
No.
Weird. However, though, 9%, no one opened your case, in case you missed it, part 2, but then also 9% opened the next one, so you know your list is working.
Yeah, there you go. Wow.
So you got 9% of people that...
We sent one to the final bonus.
Exactly. So you can see how this is like, you literally keep the same, and this is why I gave you the script, is because you just keep the same. Like you just literally go in and change one thing, and it's the webinar title, the same thing applies. Like this is why you don't change something that's already working. Like, you know what I mean? Like don't fix it if it's not broken. But I don't know why you can't look at the stats, but at the end of the day, you can look at the percentages of open rates and whatever you need to do. But then it's also making sure that when we're offering, the challenge, the workouts, that we've got a streamlined email sequence that's then going to push them over the line, so you're breaking even effectively.
Sure.
And that's what we're hyper aware of and alert of, to try and make that sure that does happen. And that's all just through emails and contact time, because that's the only thing that people don't realize. It's just contact time that causes someone to sign up or not sign up, right?
Yeah, well, that's why TVs run ads, isn't it? It's captured audience. I'm going to pay to show you this, 500 times, and on the 501st time you bought. It doesn't matter. Yeah. It's just time exposure and basically lasting it out, isn't it? You've got to just outlast the person watching and be the one standing at the end when they finally cave and be like, right, okay, let's go.
It's like, so most of the things I've bought online from people that are like mentors, if that makes sense, it's always been like 2 or 3 months that I've been watching their stuff for. So, you know, when you're looking at selling something compared to just getting them to sign up for something, it's a lot different. If you're selling something like a program face value, like without trying to get them in for a trial or whatever, you've got to be okay with making them sit there and park there for a while just to see the content, because we're so nurtured now that we kind of assume that these ads will just disappear. So we kind of don't trust anything at this point in the consumer world. So the frequency of someone seeing your message is super important, because if they see it once, that's cool. But if they see it, you know, once every day, but 7 different variations or 4 different variations of that system, then you can understand why people convert really quickly. So it's about having different variations of the same. Like, for instance, you talk about your workout, right? You want to do that, you want to get people in. It's like coming up with 4 variations of explaining the same thing, but just posting it that many times, if that makes sense. Because if you do have 4 ad sets, it's 8 times per week, right? So that they'll see that different ad set. So going through that side of things and making sure those things are kinked out and concept is cool as well. And then just building the list, because, you know, like I've got like, I think about 400, 500 people on one of my funnel lists. So, you know, if I want to do a webinar, I'm not going to go message it on Facebook. I'm just going to go email them, blast them, say, hey, I'm doing a webinar, doing a live training that everyone wants to generate leads, right? Like, simple. So it's also coming up as like, okay, cool. So we've got that system and streamline. What do we want to try and nail first? Or what do you think you need to work on the most first?
Sorry, give me 1 second. I'm just going to go shout to my children. Okay, big bad wolf gets done.
You just come back with like blood on your face and shit. And I'm like, whoa.
To be honest, I've already got an idea formulating in my head about a webinar, which I think would work, because again, I'm pretty good at talking about the subjects that people don't cover. So, I mean, it could probably be on how improving your health and fitness affects relationships and stuff. And that's, I mean, I can talk about, I've done that beforehand. I've got a video I can just use as a reference point, but that's, you know, when you get fitter, you get more confident, your partner starts resisting, like how to combat the relationship changes when getting fitter. I mean, nobody talks about that. Nobody explains that the reason why your other half hates you getting fitter is because all of a sudden he feels like he can't make you happy anymore. Everyone just thinks, oh, your other half's being a dick. So they're not. It works both ways. It's actually going to help people. And if their other half's watching in the background, all of a sudden they're going to be like, this guy seems to know what he's talking about. Like, it kind of submersively backs up the partner as well. It doesn't excuse them, but it's also like, that I'm trying to help you guys get a better relationship out of this while she works on herself. You know, you're not going to lose out. I'm not trying to steal your girl kind of thing. We've all been through that. It's like, actually what I'm trying to do is make her want to come home and show herself off to you more, which is only going to be a win-win. So that kind of thing. But the biggest thing I think at the moment is it's not even one thing. It's just making sure the back end stuff's in place. Like, as it goes now, obviously I've got that list of 16 emails that are now in that list. So next webinar I do, I can chuck that out, try and get a few more of them in. We can, you know, I'll do the same thing again. I'm now part of all the groups. My posts get approved all the time, so I can do that. And you know, and bits and pieces like that. I think that's the weakest part I have. Isn't the content going out and performing it. The weakest part is just, you know, knowing that as soon as I go click, that email sequence up, knowing that if they do want to log in, now I can do that. Like, here's a scheduling app. Bang! I've already put my schedule in. Pick yourself a phone call. It pings me. It pings you. Jobs are good and we're all good. So that's the only thing that needs punishing up. It's not going to take much. that's just the main thing, because if I keep having these technical difficulties because I'm not addressing them because I'm too busy working on the other stuff, I've got a 32-page webinar that I can recycle as many times as I want. I just need to relabel the slides. I don't have to build those up anymore. I now know how it works. I know how to deliver it. And I know the stage that comes afterwards. It's just the only problems I had were, one, making sure everybody could get into the damn webinar. For some reason, Aweber decided to not launch the blooming email sequence that said, okay, great, come in and prompt them. So I have to do all that myself, which was just a bit time intensive. So yeah, as you say, it's about having it done and nobody's kind of aware that it's being done. They just get another email. It's not like, oh, we have to post in the Facebook group again, or we have to go around 7 different platforms to make sure everybody knows about it. It's just churning all the time. So that's kind of what I need to nail down.
So the quick and easy solution is that for the entry is that the reason why is because the security of Zoom is increasing, right? So the meetings are increasing. Now, going forward, not now, but you can actually upgrade to webinar on Zoom, right? So webinar is designed to hold webinar, so it's going to work more effectively. However, you're still going to have the issue of people turning up late. That's just a given. However, you don't have to accept them, and you don't have to manually do all that stuff that you would have to through a meeting. The meeting is just a free platform that allows you to not have to pay £25 extra a month, or £25 in general, plus the other 20, so £50 a month. To just do a webinar, right? So I don't suggest that at the start, because it's like, well, it's just another expense, and it's a future thing you can do as well, which, you know, you're always going to run into situations where, like, I'm always upgrading. There's never a point in which you'll say, okay, I'm finally not needing to upgrade, because then you'll find something to do better with your business, whether it's a microphone arm, or whether it's another, like, I'm going to get a 4K camera just to increase little things. I'm going to get a green screen behind me, because who the fuck wants to look at my curtains, right? Like,
I think they're lovely.
But it's also when I want to shoot content, it's actually quicker, because I'll come up with an idea, shoot it, because I've got audio. It's you know, that's what the important part about it is. Behind the green screen, I can just make a thumbnail that's my logo, like across, like all the other guys do. But instead of paying $700 to get that designed, that's what it costs, I'll just get a green screen and then put that as an image.
Yeah, don't do what the Queen did over here and wear a green suit, because that just went hilariously. I don't know whether you know about that.
No. Is there a video?
The Queen of England, old Lizzie herself, wore a green velvet suit to do a COVID-19 speech, and the internet just ran with it and changed her outfit to everything, because she was wearing a green screen. Star Trek uniform, in stormtrooper gear, in like the whole thing. Like, it just went on and on and on, because everyone was just like, hang on a minute, she's wearing a green screen, let's just have a bit of fun with this. Like, green screen background, don't wear it, because it ends up with somebody going, who is this guy? And I'm gonna fall off Woody outfit or something.
Yeah. So it's just those little things that you'll start improving on, and you'll just become addicted to it. But it's not coming to the point where it's like, oh, I always have to come up with more money just to spend. It's more about like just improving things just each and every time. It's like, well, the only reason I got a mic was because I heard myself on a Zoom once, and I was like, that can't happen if I'm going to charge what I'm going to charge. Right? Like,
that cannot be allowed.
So, you know, I do all these different things, and it's like, well, okay, cool. What software can I increase? And then at the start of the financial year, I put 40K into the back end of my sales, already paid for itself because I did that. If I didn't do that, I'd be struggling to cope with the workload that I had. So all of these little things, it's like, okay, cool. So what's our biggest problems? Write them down on a list. What's our, you know, how can we fix these issues? I mean, the solution is webinar is to fix your entry work things. But again, don't just do it because you're worried about, people should just fucking turn up when they're fucking supposed to turn up. They're supposed to turn up when they did, they would have been accepted. Like, you know what I mean? So, and you're always going to have people that, that always want more and more and more. And they're always going to say they have technical issues, and you just can't get away from that. It's just what online is. So it's just coming through there and saying, okay, well, what are the real things that I can do versus what are they just making bullshit up about, right? Like, you just have to call some people on some bullshit. So, and you know, making a box set to make it look more appealing for the workouts, and getting those people coming in and starting those. So I very much think the easy thing to do from this call is to say, okay, well, if you make a program, we make a group, if we make it like a subscriber, they subscribe to the group, they subscribe to the program. That's the first kind of entry level thing they can do. and then they move forward after doing those however days or weeks where they have to do it. They then do it and go into your, they get a call with you. They get 2 free calls with you anyway for being on the app. You can do this through the sign up process. So they'll get this in their email. They'll get this on the sign up form, whatever. Then from there, you just have calls. You put them through the coaching. And at the same time, you're marketing through webinars and using your list and building your list from there as well.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, no, sounds good. Yeah, it's just so next phase is basically create the workouts, have a couple of variants, do it for 30 days. So, a 4-week workout plan, maybe an endurance one, strength and weight lossy one, and then, as you say, convert it into a group. And then, I mean, the thing is, at the moment, if you sell it for free, and as it is, it's a 30-day free trial. Just sign up to the link. It's, as you say, it's traffic. Even if none of them necessarily want to move forward, I've still got all their details now. As you say, it's collating data. I'm not even interested whether you want to train with me or not. I just want your email, because you will at some point. Or you'll buy in as the app grows and it now becomes a platform where you subscribe to it and you pay X amount a month. Either way, I've got you, because you want what the app's offering, and then I can be there to, even if, as you say, you drop a video in the app. Hi guys, how's everyone going? Here's a little tip for you. Here's something I found. Here's that and the other. And you say you can build value within it for very little, even if it's a case of you just nick everybody else's stuff and post it in there. I found this cool video. Watch this. I don't even have to tell you what it is. Just, here you go.
Well, that's why the subscribing group is quite cool, because you'll have everyone in that group and they can talk to each other. So hopefully they do what the VIP group does, and they'll just naturally encourage each other. However, that's always hard when you've got sometimes, I don't know why, but it's always when you have a male figure as the owner of the company, it's quite hard for them to go and feel like they can do that. I don't know why. But yeah, there's definitely, like, it's just like, now you've got a routine and now you've got a system. It's just about making sure the one thing that we need them to do is get traffic, and that's it, right? Like, that's effectively, we can create things on the fly. Like, look how fast we can change things, like, based on the things that we did with the webinar. So the biggest focus is like, okay, where am I going to get my traffic from? Now, when you think about it from that level, it's like, okay, what are we doubling down on? And then now that, and say,
I think it's the exposure of it, I think, is the big thing, because let me just see where we had actually. I'll just share the screen so you can see what the hell I'm doing. That always helps. Right, if I go to I see Phil Graham started doing paid ads all of a sudden. He started floating those out a lot. I've been seeing them pop up on everything.
Yeah, no, I get fucking targeted by the prick.
I love Russell Brunson's stuff he does on Facebook, because it's so crap. Like, he is terrible at acting in front of the camera. But I love it, because he's like, he doesn't know where the camera is at any point. He talks so unbelievably fast that nobody can really catch up with him. And it's just so unbelievably brilliant, because he just doesn't care. And that's what I love about it. And this is like what I say this to other people. They're like, how many takes does it take you to do a video? I'm like, 1. What do you mean 1? I said, I go, I talk, I do it, it goes out. Because at the end of the day, people aren't necessarily going to judge me on my acting. It's the message I'm putting out. Now, as it goes, I'm very good at it because I was trained to do it. But I just love it, because it's so hard to follow him, because he's all over the place. He just talk pretty quickly, and then we did this, and it was that, and then it's like the camera's already changed, and he's talking over here, and then we did this.
So he did he's live streaming this new program. That it was like, it's 4 a.m. my time, so I got up at like 5 to watch it, and he's just doing it, and then he just records it, and then he's going to sell it. So, like, it's such an easy marketing strategy. It's like, you're literally live streaming it. You can only live stream it, which means they can watch it for a certain amount of time. But then he's going to delete it. So the only way you can see it is if you buy the program. I'm like, fucking hell. Yeah.
Okay. So at the 16 that went, he's a friend. He wouldn't have signed up. He hasn't got the money for it. And well, he might have done. But she's a PT that I work with. That's the owner of my gym who didn't turn up, strangely. Obviously, there's Eric, there's Will, who's the guy I do my podcast with. So he wasn't going to necessarily buy. There's obviously Alex. You two didn't bloody turn up.
She took a lot too long on the call.
Sam didn't turn up, although I did send her a link. She was like, okay, fine. She was the woman that did the Wonder Woman challenge, and she said she would have stayed with me, but at the moment she hasn't got the money, but she'll probably come back. Abby is the one I spoke to and signed up, so she's basically signed up. Cool. Joe Hall is an ex-client, didn't turn up. That's my mate. Karen is already a current client, did turn up. Bev is already kind of a client and didn't turn up. So at the 16 or 15 that were interested, only really potentially out of that lot that if they turned up would have maybe booked on for the call, but probably going to be Abby, who did, and Sam. So I think the issue is obviously the ones that are interested. So Jackie isn't on enough client, but she's interested. So these, they've got a copy of it anyway, which could bring them back into the fold. So these are like warm leads because they kind of work. They've both worked with me before. Sam, don't know, but she didn't turn up anyway. She would have got a copy whether she's looked at it or not. I don't know because I can't check. So there's a lot of women checking it that would have potentially, gone in for it. But I think at the moment it's just maybe because it was the email sequences obviously weren't set up, or maybe there wasn't enough push
contact time.
Contact time to get them in. So that's the thing. I was looking back. I mean, I invited 459 people from what I could actually get chucked in there.
Yeah,
I'm not worried about that. That's irrelevant. But I'm just thinking out the ones that went, most of them, unfortunately, people that I know, like sort of friends or ex-clients. Yeah. So I need to.
And that's the.
Don't need such.
I mean, that's the issue. But if you look at the insights, right, you reach 3.9 thousand people.
Yeah.
Right. So you had 6 tickets, you had 46 responses. Like, if you look at the stats without looking at the individuals, it's a fucking pretty good show. Like, because you didn't put did you put money into this or no? Into ads or no? No. So you got 3.9 thousand people reach just organically, right? So that's in itself is perfect. But what we're going to say now is like, okay, well, it's the only way we can get rid of our friends and family and all these people is literally just by paid, right? So, or a strategy in which we try and formulate things that can continue to respond. Like, so what I say about doing a new event every day is that the reason being is that this is what they would do if they were seeing an ad. So they would see your ad, like you see Phil's, like 4 or 5 times throughout the week, and it's just reminding them to do it, right? So what I mean by that is that if you go through and say, you create a new event every day because you can only invite 500 people, but if you keep inviting the same people, they're going to remember and then eventually sign up. It's not about, hey, you're annoying.
The same people each time.
What's that?
I don't know whether they've changed it or not, but when I made the second one, second event to invite the rest of the people in the friends list, it wouldn't let me invite the original people that were invited to the first event. So I mean, when I duplicated it, I couldn't invite the ones that were already invited to the first one. So I don't know why that is. It might be they've changed something, or whether it is because of whatever. But
did you duplicate it or start a new one?
I duplicated it.
Yeah, so if you duplicate it, you won't be able to invite the same people.
Okay, so I'd have to recreate one.
So you literally just go new event, go through the whole entire process again, invite all the same, like it's a tedious little task, but you can see what you're saving in this element. So you're not paying for ads at this point. And you've got 3.9.
So I suppose ideally what I do, because now I have a computer that's more powerful enough to do it, even if I opened up literally 7 tabs and just did it all at the same time, and then I'll just leave a tab open every day and then redo it. That's fine.
Or you just open a Word doc and then just create the links and the wording that you would want to do, save the Word doc, and then just do that. So honestly, like with my events, I would make like 20. I would literally make 20 events. I would make probably 2 a day.
Yeah, which isn't a problem. I don't mind, because now, it builds a confidence, doesn't it? Like after a while, at the end of the day, you piss people off. They ain't going to turn up anyway. Everybody turn around and say, I'll definitely be there. I'm really looking forward to your webinar. Fucking way, you didn't even turn up. I ain't worried about it. If I piss you off in the process, well, Jesus Christ, I mean, you're either going to turn up or you ain't. And at the end of the day, if you're going to turn up, I ain't worried about it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I've got a bit like that now. I'm like, fuck it, let's do it.
But that's what you need to get to. This is what people don't tell you about online, and all the fucking fancy bullshit that people show you, and we know who we're talking about, right? So you see all this fancy like sugar coating and all this other crap, but you don't see how you get, you're in the trenches, having to invite people on a Facebook group, and that's what I used to have to do for like years with my PT and online, because I just didn't have the infrastructure to be able to cope with the ads and the traffic. So unless you can hold the fulfillment, there's no point doing it. This is what people don't tell you about. Everyone's like, do paid ads. And I'm like, if you don't have the fulfillment to be able to hold the people coming in, because it's not about if, maybe, or when. It's about once you get an audience, like I have for most of my clients, they're getting like 20 or 30 opt-ins every day. So, you've got to look at it and say, well, can you handle 20 or 30 opt-ins every single day? Or, what is...
Yeah, it's exactly that, isn't it? You've got to, it's all well and good, to use an analogy, it's all well and good having a board, but it's saying you can handle the water you're going out on.
Yeah.
Like, what's the point in as you say, getting 20 people a day interested in buying with you, and you can't handle 5 of them? Well, then all of a sudden you're just going, no, I ain't dealing with that anymore. You throw it away. Which is kind of where I think, and you obviously hit the nail on the head with it ages ago. That was the issue I had. I was kind of like, when I'm signing up clients and it is a case of I only have so many hours in a day that I work, this is when you slot in. It's very easy because you know what you're working with and they know what you're working with. When you're online, you're not working to any kind of time schedule. You just say that my office hours are between this and this, and I'll make sure I get back to you. You could have 100 people sat there and you're like, Jesus Christ, I have 100 people. Like, can I handle this kind of thing? And especially
when you automate the booking process as well.
Yeah, exactly that. And I think this is where, like, obviously at some point it is a case of, you have to know what you can handle on your own before you have to get other people in. Because I think, if I recall correctly, I think that's what happened with Darren. I don't know whether you follow him at all, because he went to create an app, and he's the solo version of James. Darren doesn't have a team behind him, and I don't think he realizes that this is where he has to go, because he has the flair. He's the one that helped James set everything up. So he has this residual traffic, but I don't think he has the infrastructure to deal with the influx of what he has coming in. And I think that's what happened to him, because he tried to build an app, and it launched, and it cost £24.70 because it was the Meetup 24/7 app. So he priced everything really clever, had all the spiel, and it flopped, like absolutely flopped. And he went into hiding for a bit. And I think that's where you get to the point, isn't it? Like, you have this grand idea and you think, yeah, it's going to be absolutely fine. And then the realism kicks in and you're like, I am not prepared for this, or it's not as good as I thought it was. I don't know what to do with it. So he just yanked the whole lot, and that was it. So
I just don't, I don't understand what happened there, because I don't understand how it can flop if you have that many people and that much traffic. Like, how do you get 24,000, or how do you make £24,000 in an email and then have an idea before that flop? Like, I understand what's the difference. Like, I don't know what the difference is. Like, I just don't, I don't really understand that concept. So there's definitely something going behind the scenes. But I very much think
there was a conflict of interest somewhere, I think, that kind of went in with that. But yeah, it was kind of it was just weird. But yeah, you're right. That the biggest thing is, it's like now you kind of outgrow your initial surroundings, don't you? So like now it's like, beforehand I had X amount of hours a day I was prepared to work. People coming in, what availability do you have? I have this and this. Well, okay, I can make that work, but you're going to have to if you want to work with me. And you knew where you were. You knew that you're only going to take on 20 hours a week. That's what you worked. And 20 hours is either 10 clients doing for whatever. And now all of a sudden you have this almost like a holding pen of basically unlimited people. You can have as many people as you can physically cram into it, and you've got to learn how to deal with it. Otherwise it just eats itself and you're left like, crap, what do I do? And I think that's where, I'm not there yet, but it is the realization that it can go there quite quickly if we get this system set up. And it's like, okay, so what am I going to do when that happens?
Yeah. So I mean, that's the thing behind it. The art behind it is that what I make sure, and I know it's tedious, is that like we build all the back end stuff so that, like for me, I don't touch any of my own funnels, because that allows me to then work on everyone else's funnels and everyone else's sales scripts and everyone else's ads. Because if it didn't have that, and I didn't spend the time in the first 4 months or 2 months, 3 months of me doing this before I took on my bigger clients and bigger workload, is that something would suffer. Like you guys would notice that your coaching was suffering. You would notice that something was up, and that's my goal, ultimate goal, never for that happen. Right? Like as soon as I'm late to something, I'm fucking covered. Like, oh, cool. Sorry, this is my bad that I was late. This is out of my control, whatever. But it's very optimal to understand that when you scale, there's always going to be that problem that the people you started with are always going to pick up on things. So the clients that you're working with now in 6 months' time, they're going to like, the idea is that they never notice that you get busier, but you're actually just making more, right? So with my infrastructure, it was like I needed to make sure all my funnels were built in a way in which I didn't have to touch them once I built them. So my follow-up funnels, my email list, all I have to do is change emails and follow-ups, and that's it.
Yeah, sure.
So it's just about going through and saying, okay, well, the infrastructure we've got very, very down pat, right? What else do we have to change? And it's very much so just if you get 20 bookings next week from your webinar, right, through your link, can you cope with that? If you can't, then we need to change something.
Yeah, I don't know whether I would. This is the thing, because I've never come across that before. This is it's the answer I can't, the question I can't answer.
Yeah, for sure, and that's fine. But I mean, the feeling that you got from doing a webinar from your own home and then getting someone to say, "Hey, I'm doing a call," that's just the tip of the iceberg in terms of what you can do scaling wise.
I loved it. And it was good because I said I haven't felt like this since I was doing performing arts, and I miss it. I like getting in front of a crowd, talking. You know, I'm lucky that I am very articulate. I have a very extensive vocabulary. So when I talk, I can, in the nicest possible way, and I love him to bits. I'm not talking like Harrick. It's not like all man, them, and this and that. Like I love the guy to bits, but it's different. When I speak, I know how to orate. I know how to, you're going to get drawn into what I have to say. Like when I do this little test with the guys I'm on the phone to, because you know what you're saying, like the person who speaks first loses. And on that call today, I'm saying stuff and I'm just sat there. Yeah, you're right. I'm like, yeah, I know. And I couldn't, I'm happy to sit there and like, you'll talk, fine.
Exactly. And that's the art, and that's the art of selling. So I think very much what you'll find is that the easiest way for you to get people is actually through webinars. I just believe it'll be that. You'll offer a package and you'll say, actually, like it's this much per year or per for 12 weeks. But at the moment, all I'm doing is just splitting it down into 12 payments of X, Y, and Z. If you want to do this, click the link below. Done. Right? Like that's how you're going to sell your coaching. I just purely believe it'll be that, because you don't have to then worry about such a big ad spend. You don't have to worry about such a big booking in for every week. I very much think it's going to get all your traffic to go to one per, whether it's the app or whether it's the webinars or all that kind of stuff. But in the back end, all we have to do is create that process. So I think very much between now and next week, it's creating that process. And by next week, you can just jump on and show me what you've done. In the process in which a person goes from. So what we will do is we will go through together, like hypothetically, if I was a client and saw your ad, this is how we're going to go through it before we start doing ads, because you've got to run through the process of what a person's going to look like before we start running those things.
Yeah. So what would that, because this is the thing, like I wouldn't even know where you're saying, obviously we've got to figure out how we're going to get somebody on board and stuff. What am I looking to fiddle around with? Because at the moment you could say this and you would end the conversation, I have no idea where to even start.
So for instance, if we were hypothetically talking about ads, right, to build your list, then what we do is we offer them a lead magnet, right? An ethical bribe is what we call it. So what are we going to offer them to gain their email address, right? So that's the first thing. Now you've got plenty of things that you can do that. Now we need to make it more appealing than just a workout, right? Or just a exercise library or just a whatever. Now we can do this through, the likes of Fiverr for like $5 or $6, or you can literally go on Canva and do it yourself probably. So all of these things are just like, okay, what's our ethical bribe? The second step is like, okay, the email sequence or the soap opera sequence is then going to push them into the next phase, which is going to be the webinar registration, because you're going to do that once every month, right? So you'll have in the email sequence, like I've already shown you the email sequence anyway, in those email sequences, and we can write a few more for you if you need to, but it's just onboarding them to the next cell or the next cell and the next cell. So the next one is going to be the webinar. And in the webinar is when you sell your program or your coaching, because they need to, like everyone's selling their coaching on the front end, no one's selling their coaching on the back end. Which means everyone's numb to Facebook ads asking for consults and clients and all this other stuff. And we can give you, when we start running those side of things, we can actually give you templates to just drag and drop into ads very easily. Like it's not a big deal if you want to do the coaching on the front end. But I think you need a lookalike audience before you even look like that. So we're going to need a few more email addresses, probably about 15 more before we start that lookalike audience. So that's cool. And the most important thing is I think we try and, we trying to look at the email list as like a lookalike audience. So if we can build that list up as fast as we can, that's great. So then we've got the webinar. And then from the webinar, what you do is say, okay, what's my upsell from the webinar apart from your coaching? Okay. Right? Like what is there whatever we can do to say, here's a challenge that we're doing in the next 20 days or whatever we need to do. It's this much money for entry, whatever you need to do. All you have to do is click the link down below, go through to a Stripe account and pay or whatever you do through payments. There's so many different avenues that you can do webinars, and you'll get to probably the point where you're advertising so much, you'll probably do a webinar every week.
Yeah.
And you're just selling different programs. You're booking out your challenge that starts every 18 or 8 weeks, right? So then that's going to be a webinar, and then you're doing your coaching, which is going to be every week pretty much to get new people coming through. And then once you can do that, we can show you how to use webinar funnels and auto webinar funnels, which means you don't have to do any of the work. You just put a webinar in there on whatever you want to do, and then you just leave it run and you put traffic towards that, and it's automatic. So it's about putting this legwork in now, so that in like a month's time, you just have to make everything automatic.
Yeah, sure. So,
makes sense?
Yeah, no, it does now that I've got it sort of figured out what I'm going to do. So, basically, I mean, I've got Aweber, I've got the platform to do it. We've got a rough, so we've already got a rough guide, haven't we? Like for the onboarding, and we just got to make sure the damn thing actually activates. Otherwise, it's sad that. So, offers, I guess. Could be make the app, because the app could be an offer to get emails and stuff. I've got an ebook written out, which is also one of the free things that went on there. But I can obviously, if I go on Fiverr and send it to somebody, say, can you turn this into a proper legit ebook? It looks better. I've used Fiverr before, so that's not a problem. And then the email sequence. How would you, because I know the whole soap opera thing, how would you go about doing that? Because I know you've got to try and get them to know you a little bit better, isn't it? So it's got to be kind of, I know it doesn't have to be in the moment because it's automatic, so it will send out regardless. So people aren't going to notice that everyone else got the same email. But what would you suggest that kind of breakdown would look like? 3 or 4 emails, 5, whatever?
I would say minimum 7, and then minimum 7 in anything you do. Minimum 7, and then switch them over to another list. So what you would do is you would make a 7 sequence emails list, and then you would tag them at the bottom once you've done the 7, and move them onto your Seinfeld email list.
Okay.
Makes sense?
Yeah. So what would be in those 7 emails, just as a rough guide?
So the 7 emails would be like an onboarding experience for what you're talking about. So if they're downloading an ebook, it's getting them started. So the first one's going to be like technical support, making sure they know how to download it, making sure they know how to read it, all this other stuff. And then you start going through and giving them more and more value through golden nuggets. Go in here and look at this video, go watch this video, go like us on Facebook, go join our group, all these other ones that are going to add value to them. On the back end, and just going through the process of saying, even if you look at the webinar style of, the email sequence, look at that and say, okay, well, how do we manage or how do we mimic that to go through? And then also I'll send you one of my funnels and I'll get you to go through my funnel system so you can see what I do. I can send you that link as well, and then you can opt in through there and just get those emails sent out. So, and then just pretty much copy those if you want to.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's a sequence that I literally have I have about a 15 to 20 day email sequence, because I'm offering like 3 products in the back end of my ultimate funnel. First one is book and a call. Second one is buy my book. Third one is buy another book. Pretty simple, but that's not a level in which we need to worry about at the moment. But going forward, the sequence is just what do you want them to do in the 7 days, and it's slowly but surely not offering them at the start, but onboarding them into the product, making sure they're offering the product, making sure you offer them the opportunity to email you back if they're liking the product, and all these other things as well. Cool.
Yeah. So I've got a rough guide here. So the first one's tech support. So thanks for downloading the email. Thanks for opting for the ebook. Just so you know, this is how you open it. If you're having trouble reading it, Second one, you say golden nuggets. Oh, by the way, here's something that wasn't in the book, but I think I really like. Third one, here's one of my videos that will be quite cool for you to watch because it's one of the things that you don't normally come up against.
And then four or five is like message me, email me back, and tell me how you're finding the book.
Okay,
like, break it up and say, email me back, let me know. I really want to know how you're finding it. Because first of all, you can use it as social proof. Second of all, you can have a conversation with them. And third of all, it just means they're human, right? It shows that you're human and not just a robot.
Yeah. So 4 would be email for feedback.
Five is go, maybe go join a group or go like a page or go watch another video resource. 6 and 7.
Show social media link.
Yeah. 6 and 7 is just an upsell. So like go register for my webinar, go book in a call with me, whatever you need them to do. Like don't book in a call through emails. It doesn't really work that well. So it'd be going up and upselling them to like a webinar or a live event or whatever.
Yeah. So cool. Yeah. So even 6 could be, say webinar, and because, the social media link does that, and maybe even on the 7th one could be jumping on the next live Q&A.
Yep, for sure. Yeah, or when we get it, it'll be like you put it at the end and you'll go, we can make an evergreen sign up form. So pretty much they're signing up for a webinar that's coming up, but the webinar is actually an auto webinar. So that's when you put an auto webinar in. So that's the power of doing that. Cool. Anyway, I've got to jump to Alex's call now. But
no, that's fine. Yeah, it's just so I've got a bare bones of it, because otherwise I would have been staring at the screen.
No, that's fine. But yeah, like ask me through the week, and I'll obviously talk to me tomorrow if you need to after the podcast and all that stuff as well. But apart from that, cool.
Nice, sweet. Thank you very much, my man.